So in this next section, 4.5, we will continue solving trig equations, but in this section we're going to focus on substituting using trig identities. So we're going to go through a few things that would be some strategies that help you decide which identities to use. So some trig equations involve using trig identities to get the trig functions to be consistent. So some of the most commonly used trig identities, the very first one would be your Pythagorean identity. Okay, so you would use maybe a variation or sine squared plus cosine squared is equal to 1. Okay, you also have your tangent is equal to secant squared, as well as 1 plus cotangent squared is equal to cosecant squared. Okay, so remember, you can use any variation of these. It doesn't necessarily have to be just like that, so you need to keep those in mind. Then you have your reciprocal identities that you need to remember. So you have the sine of theta is equal to 1 over cosecant. You have cosine is equal to 1 over the secant. And then you have your tangent, which is 1 over the cotangent. And again, it could be any of these variations. Another would be your quotient identity, okay, which would be the tangent theta is equal to sine theta over cosine theta, or your cotangent theta is equal to cosine theta over sine theta. And again, knowing when to use these is going to come with experience and practice, as well as when we worked on those verifying identities. You also have your sine double angle. Okay, which is sine 2 theta is equal to 2 sine cosine. And then the last, most common, would be your variations of the cosine double angle. Okay, so cosine 2 theta can be equal to cosine squared minus sine squared. That's 1, which could also be 2 cosine squared theta minus 1, which could also be 1 minus 2 sine squared. Okay, and you need to make sure that you remember all of these.